Good morning. I am Kate with Canning with Kate. So welcome to my channel and I thank you so much for watching. Today I am going to be making a jar of lacto-fermented pickles. It's great for gut health and just overall general. I think it's a prebiotics that it helps to get going in your gut. So I know that our family needs that, and that's why I am doing this. This does not need to be processed. This is a fermentation, so it's just going to be sitting out in the jar for like 2 to 7 days, depending on how quickly it starts to ferment. And then you get to decide when you think it is ready, when you like the taste of the pickles, and then it's ready and you get to pop it in the fridge and eat it and start the gut health journey. So I am going to be using 4 pickles from my garden this year. This is the first time I've ever had pickles that I've grown myself, so I'm very excited to see how this works out. So here's my pickles. They're not uniform, but they are mine and I grew them. So we're gonna start slicing these. I have already cut off the ends of these pickles. So then I'm going to just go ahead and make them into spears, and you can really make whatever you want, whatever shapes you want. So you can make circles, excuse me, you can do, good morning, or you can do spears, or you can even make it in halves. But this guy is pretty big, so I'm going to do it in spears. And I was going to make dill pickles today, but I could not find any dill at the store anywhere. So I went to 2 stores, could not find any dill. And I didn't want to use dried dill, so there's these. Hold on. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is add my spices. So I'm doing 1 teaspoon of allspice berries. Making a mess. 1 teaspoon of black pepper. Now I'm hoping that this is going to taste good. I've never made these. I don't know if do you need to use the restroom? Do you want to eat it? Okay, you can eat that one. So I don't know if my spices are going to be accurate to my taste, but it's all about experimentation. And then I have some mustard seed. So 1 teaspoon of each of those into my jar. And then I'm going to start packing my jar with my pickle spears, or my cucumber spears. They will be pickles, but they're not yet. Now you can pickles in a water bath method, and those will become shelf stable. These are not shelf stable, so these do not get stored on your pantry shelf. I was going to do the canning method just to have shelf stable dill pickles, but my sister had sent me a recipe for refrigerator pickles, and she said they were amazing and she wanted me to try them, so that is what I am doing today. Later on I will probably do shelf stable pickles with a water bath method or a steam canning method, but this one I just wanted to try and see how they went. There's so many different pickle recipes, and you just need to find one that works for you. There's just so many different ways to make pickles, different seasonings, different, just a lot of different methods. So you are free to go online and start looking for different recipes and just kind of experiment and have fun with it. And especially if you like You can make sweet pickles. My family loves bread and butter pickles, and I really like the ball bread and butter recipe, so that's what I've used, and I've always had great success with it. My family loves it. All right, that's pretty packed. So you want to pack this jar pretty tightly because the pickles will shrink a little bit and they will start to float to the top. Now with that, you don't want any of your product to come out of the liquid, out of your brine mixture, because then it will start to mold. So it's very important. Pack them tightly. Then the next step, before I add my salt, is I'm going to take bay leaves, just dried bay leaves. I'm going to take 3 of these because what I have heard, and we'll see if it works, what I've heard is that the tannins in a bay leaf will help your pickles to remain crunchy. You could just do 1 bay leaf. I think that's all that's really necessary, but as a step of precaution against mushy pickles, I'm going to be using 3 bay leaves. So you just kind of stick them in there, and see my bay leaf right there, and I've got them just kind of stuffed in between the pickles or the cucumbers. Next step is you take 1 teaspoon of unprocessed salt. So don't use just regular table salt because that's not going to help with the fermentation process. You need unprocessed salt. So I have just pink Himalayan sea salt. You could use something like Redmond's real salt. So that would be totally fine too. I'm going to be using spring water. Don't use water from the tap because it's got a whole bunch of just contaminants and chlorine. The chlorine is the #1 thing that you don't want in your pickles. So just take a little bit of water, kind of mix it with your salt to start dissolving it a little bit. It doesn't matter if it's fully dissolved. You don't even have to do this step. You can just pour the salt right in your jar and then pour the water in, and that will be fine. But I want to make sure it gets really dissolved. So I have 1 teaspoon of salt, the fine ground. If you have really coarse ground salt, that's fine too. You just add 2 tablespoons or 1 tablespoon instead of 1 teaspoon. So I'm pouring that in there. Then the last step is to fill the jar. You can add dill, like a fresh dill sprig or 2, if you want to make dill pickles, but that's not necessary. All right, so the last thing is you need to have a weight. I am out of my glass weights, so you just need something that's going to help to keep your pickles submerged as they are going through the process. So something small, something that's going to give a little bit of weight would be ideal, just to keep those pickles under there. I'm going to add a little bit more water to make sure that they are full. Put my weight on, and then you can use like a fermentation lid. They have, I think it's called a pickle pipe. I don't have those, so all I can use is one of my 2-piece lids, which I have right here. So with this method, you take your 2-piece lids, put one of the pieces there, be right back. I have to go find a ring. Okay, so I have a wide mouth ring on my wide mouth lid. I'm just going to screw it on. Really tightly. Now, that's it. That's all I'm going to do for today. Put it in a kind of warmish place in your kitchen or in your pantry. Just make sure you don't forget about it, because if it's forgotten about, then it's not going to ferment properly. So I have some more jars of pickles that are in the fermenting process right now, right in my kitchen, so I can't forget to burp them. So when something is fermented, it needs to have a way to release that, I believe it's the carbon dioxide in the fermentation process. So when you have a lid like this, it doesn't have any way to release those gases. So every day you need to burp it. So that just means that you open your lid just real quickly. You'll hear kind of like a burp kind of sound, and then you just replace the lid. Okay, easy peasy, once a day. That's all you need to do. And then you'll start to see the jar fermenting, and bubbles will start to form on the top of your jar, and that tells you that the process is working. After a couple days, if you start to see those bubbles in the top of your jar, then you can go ahead and open your jar and take a pickle out. And if it is at the right spot for you, if you like the taste and the flavor and the crunch and everything, then they're set, and you can just go ahead and remove the weight and place it in your refrigerator and have at it for eating those pickles. If you want to let it set for a little bit longer and keep fermenting for a few more days, just close it back up and keep it on your shelf or wherever you are storing them for a few more days. Just remember, whatever pickle spear or slice that you ate from, don't put it back in there. So I'm going to show you what I have right now sitting on my shelf so you can see what is going on over there. So here's the other pickles that I have. I was actually able to find enough dill to make these dill pickles. So just a tiny sprig is all of that. And you can see tiny little bubbles in some of these. So this one is actually starting to ferment a little bit, as well as this one. So that tells you that the process is working. And that's pretty exciting for me because, like I said, I've never made these before. So I'm really excited to try them in a few days. So yeah, that's it. That's the process for lacto-fermented pickles. I also would encourage you to look at another video. It's Mary's Nest. She is an amazing person to watch for a whole bunch of videos on natural foods and fermentation process. She does sourdough, she does canning, so she's another great resource to look at. But I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope that you go ahead and get started doing some of your own pickles to put in your refrigerator. All right, have a great day, and I will see you soon. Bye.